What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called, "You Just Watched Me on Stage. I'm not the bartender, remember? I'm a full-time touring singer-songwriter, and this happens often. And usually it resolves itself very quickly when I say, I'm not the bartender, but this one didn't go that way. I was playing a show at a bar I played dozens of times. I'm good friends with the staff and even have a weekday residency there when I'm not playing my usual out-of-state gigs. The opening band was on and doing great, so people were already in the spirit of a fun night out. We were about 30 minutes from our showtime and I just wanted to refill on my soda water. I was standing at the end of the bar in the doorway of the folding bar top door, talking with one of the bartenders and the cook while in between their fast-paced service. Thankfully, the bar was filling up for the show and they were getting more and more slammed. There was a problem with the CO2 tank or whatever makes the soda water come out of the gun. So the manager/owner was in the back handling it and I was patiently waiting, shooting the bull between their back and forth walking to fill orders. Unfortunately, the line was stacking up because of the non-functioning soda gun. A Karen, about 45 or so, walks up to me and says, "Rum and Coke, please," without so much as looking at me. It took me a second to answer because I didn't realize she was talking to me. She is digging in her purse and finds her money and then finally looks at me and says, "I need a rum and Coke. The show's about to start and I don't want to be standing here when it does." Delighted she's here to see me, I say, thanks for coming. Sorry, I'm not the bartender. They'll get your order right down there," and point to the growing order line. She huffs and makes a dramatic gesture of grabbing her purse and huffs over to get in line. A few minutes pass, the CO2 is fixed, the backed up line gets all their orders, I get my soda, Karen gets a rum and Coke, and I walk on stage. During the show, I can see Karen having a good time at a table with two couples. She's solo. Wonder why? And she even rewards me and the band with a few loud "Whoa!" usually when I'm telling the story to set up the next song. That's nothing I'm not used to, and it's my job to play music, not to teach people manners. So we roll on ahead and have a good time. Standard set is over, and we even get a "one more song" encore with Karen participating. So we play an old cover and throw the jam around for a while, then call it a night. Last call is about 45 minutes away, so people linger a while and I go to the merch table and meet a few fans, new and old. No Karen though. By the time that's done, last call is about 20 minutes away. So I stroll back to my spots at the end of the bar by the bar top door and ask for another soda water. As I'm standing there, who should approach but Karen? I'm about to thank her again for coming to the show and for her enthusiasm while we played. But before I can get it out, she says, "Rum and Coke," again, without even looking at me. Again. I try to be polite to people that paid their hard-earned money to come to my show. And I was trying to figure out how to politely answer this when the bartender walked over, handed Karen her check, and said quite loudly, "I can't serve you anymore, ma'am. Can I call you a cab?" She is flabbergasted and embarrassed and snorts something about it being BS and looks at me like, "Can you believe him?" Bartender replies, "Don't look at him. You just watched him play guitar for almost 2 hours and then tried to order a drink from him. I think you're done." She pays and stomps over to her table and we can see her relay it to all her friends. They look over and see me waving and give an embarrassed wave back and herd her out the door. Bonus! Months later, I'm playing a different bar in the same Metroplex and a couple come to the show, and then to the meet and greet at the merch table afterward. They look familiar, but I can't place them. This is normal. I meet a lot of people. Until they say, "So a while back, we came to see you at the first bar, and this lady we were with thought you were the bartender, and I remember, and we all have a good laugh." Apparently, the two ladies from the two couples worked together with Karen. They were talking about the upcoming show, and she invited herself to come along without knowing anything about me or my music. The best part was when the lady ended with, "Yeah, but she doesn't work with us anymore," with a very satisfied smile. Kudos to our Redditor here for breaking into the singer-songwriter industry that is, I would say, oversaturated, but even that would be an understatement. And also for keeping it humble, you know? This story's called Nearly Got Assaulted for Being a Decent Human Being. Backstory. I used to work for a supermarket. No, not Walmart or Target or the like. We do have several stores scattered across the Midwest, but outside of that, most people haven't even heard of them. I was normally a cashier, but after volunteering to do a job no one else wanted to do, they quickly realized how amazing I was and would schedule me in that position as much as possible. What's the job, you ask? I signed people up for store credit cards. Everyone else hated it because you would walk around the store and get told off by customers. But since I'm a really friendly person and don't take a whole lot too personally, most people were really friendly with me and I got good sales. I enjoyed it because the walking kept me in shape and was easier on my feet, one of which is deformed, long story. One of the nice things about this job was that I was allowed to wear business casual clothing when I was scheduled to do cards. I won't go into the details, but due to life happening, I had gone back to living with my dad for a time. I don't have a car though, and since I no longer lived within walking distance at work, I had to take the bus from the nearby Kroger. On this day, I was wearing a nice blue shirt with buttons that went from the collar to the sleeves, along with some black slacks. Now, one thing that has always bothered me, especially after starting at store and really seeing just how lazy people are, is when people leave their carts in the middle of the parking lot. I might not work for Kroger, but the dedicated employee in me would still get worked up whenever I saw this. Here's the cast. Lazy jerk. Awful woman. Me. So I'm sitting there, waiting for the bus to come, when I see lazy jerk shove his cart on top of the little medium that end caps the parking lot. I know it's not my business, but I'm not in uniform and this really does bother me. Had I been in uniform though, I would have left it alone in case he recognized my uniform and took it out on the store. I hate when people are jerks and take advantage of companies and employees just because they're customers and can get away with it. I consider this karma for all the times I had to bite my tongue at work. You know that's how people get dents in their car. I can leave it where I want. And he flips me off. I sigh and get up to go grab the cart. I know it's not my job, but I have a personal rule that if you see something that's worth enough to you to speak up about, it's worth enough to do something about it. So I check my watch to make sure I've still got plenty of time till the bus comes, then get up and walk over to get the cart. I have a little trouble getting it off the medium, and the cart starts to fall towards the car. I quickly catch it though, and it doesn't even come close to hitting it. This still ticked off lazy jerk and awful woman though, and they both got out of their car. Watch it, you almost hit my car. So it's okay for other people's cars to get dented, but not yours? I hate hypocrites. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Lazy jerk towers over me and tries to be intimidating. If you freaking touch my car. Go ahead, there's cameras everywhere. You freaking bench, I'm telling Lois. Name changed, you'll be sorry. Go ahead, I don't work here. I'm just a decent human being trying to look out for other people. A concept you wouldn't understand. I take the cart back to the store and put it away before going back to the bus stop. And lazy jerk and awful woman leave. While I waited, I let a store employee know what happened, worried they might call to complain, so they would know what happened and that none of their staff was to blame. I knew they thought I worked there because my shirt was the same color as the uniform, and awful woman threatened to tell on me, and I didn't want an innocent person to get in trouble on my account. I also called the store later that day during my break so I could let the manager know as well. Okay, so I wouldn't do what this person, what the Redditor did, actually call someone out on it because I personally don't see it as a big deal. It's just people being too lazy to, care. They don't really give it a second thought, but usually if I see a couple stray carts, within a reasonable distance, I will get them and put them in the cart bank thing that's in the parking lots of like Walmart, so I can kind of understand where this person's coming from, but I would not think it's worth calling people out for. But yeah, good on you for being considerate enough to do that and, deal with that. This story's called, You Don't Work Here, but that doesn't mean you can't get fired. The background. This happened around late 2013 to early 2014. I used to work at a telecommunication company in the Caribbean, taking calls mostly in relation to cell and internet service. I usually worked the graveyard shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. This is when there is less traffic, and as a result, this is the time a lot of upgrades may be done to the network that may affect persons using the service. Of course, this means everyone will call into the center to complain about service being down, but we can usually advise them on a time when it will be back up for internet services. It's best to do a restart of the device too. We will also gather a sample of information just to ensure that it is the network upgrade that is affecting the customer and not something else. What plan they are on, what type of phone, their location, etc. On to the story! One night, one of these aforementioned issues happens. Local network upgrade to patch some lingering issues. The internet service may be down in our hometown for about 2 hours between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. We put up the advisory on the greeting you get when calling the center, but of course, people still want to hear from a live person. No problem. I get into a rhythm of my usual customer service greeting, hearing the issue, asking their location and handset type, then advise them of the upgrade underway and ask for their patience. After a few minutes of doing this, I get a call from an irate man asking why his internet isn't working. This is not out of the ordinary in and of itself, so I ask his current location, and he replies, "Downstairs." I am a bit puzzled, but I thought maybe he is telling me where he is in his home? So I clarify. "I'm sorry for the mix-up, could you advise me where in the island you are located?" He replies, "Are you deaf? I said downstairs. I'm the security downstairs!" I took a pause, as it took me a while to process this information. The security on our building is outsourced, but they do have a computer at the station that gets the feed of upgrades as a banner going across the screen. Also, they aren't allowed to be on their phones while at work. I said, "Just to clarify, you are the security on duty tonight at our building, and you are calling customer service?" The security replies, "Finally you catch up. When is this gonna be fixed? My girl is at home and I need to talk with her right now." Now, I don't like to be mistreated over the phone as much as the next guy, so there was a bit of sarcasm when I asked, "When does it say the issue will be resolved on the monitor downstairs?" At this point, if I listened closely enough, I could hear his blood boil over the phone. "Look, man, I can't wait till 4 a.m. to talk with her. What if she's cheating? I need this fixed." No! At this point, I have had enough. I remind him the call is being recorded, so it may be a good idea to not be a jerkwad over the phone, and that he should be on guard, and his phone should be in his locker and not being used to call customer service. He proceeds to hiss his teeth and mumble something under his breath and end the call. I decide to go on break and head downstairs because maybe he will be different one-on-one in real life. I take the elevator and go to the security desk, which, what a surprise, he isn't there. I go outside and walk around the building and find a security at the steps. I'm not sure if he's the one I spoke to because there are usually 2 to 3 on duty, but then he comes over to me. "Hey, you work upstairs, right?" I tell him yes and show him my ID. "Great, can you get my phone online? I need to get past the system upgrade BS." I reply, that isn't possible, dude. Look, my phone is offline too." I show him there's a no data signal on my phone and tell him he's just gonna have to wait. I then ask, "Hey, are you the guy that called in a while ago? I would recommend not doing that. I wouldn't want you to get in trouble." I'm being as friendly as possible and just passing advice from one person to another. I then see his eyes go red. "Hey man, what are you gonna do? Fire me? I don't work for you." Insert poo-eating grin. "No, you don't, but your security company works for us. So, in essence, your boss is our company's employee." A small sense of realization seemed to have taken hold at this point. He asked me not to say anything, and me being as non-confrontational as possible, agreed. Fast forward to the next night when I come into work and, lo and behold, there is a new security at the desk. I go to my manager and ask what's up, and he told me he overheard the phone call and it was randomly pulled for scoring. And then it just so happens it got him into trouble. It went as far as the building manager going to change security companies on a whole, but in the end, they decide just to part ways with that security officer in order to make amends. I kind of felt bad, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, each interaction you go through, no matter how insignificant it may seem to you, may play a big impact on someone else. Alright guys, here's just a little bit of advice. If you're freaking out at like 2 in the morning, if your girlfriend's cheating on you and you want to call her just to make sure she's not, That doesn't sound like the most healthy relationship, you know? I'm not saying the girl couldn't have been cheating, or I'm not saying the girl was cheating, okay? But, like, from what the story told, a guy needs to chill.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.